Hi everyone, it is time for the weekly recap video. I am going to be going over the past week of trading with you guys. Looks like I took 8 trades in the past week and I was able to come out with $1,432, which was amazing. And even better than that, my stats are like what I'm shooting for. So I'm very proud of the past week. Something very pivotal that happened in the past week was I sized up my contracts. So I went from one contract of micro gold futures to 2 contracts. So if you've seen my strategy video, you're probably going to want to watch that. What I look for is I look for 30 points per trade and I risk 12 points for most of my trades. And this week, I went from that ratio, meaning I make $300 per trade and I lose 120 every loss. That went up to double. So now I make 600 per trade and I am risking $240 per trade. So we've just sized up and I'm pretty close to sizing up again. So we're going to go to 3 contracts and then I'll be looking for $900 per trade, risking 480. So very exciting. I have not, in my history of trading, gotten to a point where I'm able to scale in a really stable way. I have scaled before, but like probably definitely not when I should have. And it was more out of just wanting more money. And the way that I'm trading now is just so stable and so reliable. It feels really good. If you want to know how I trade, I have the video, my trading strategy. I walk through exactly how I trade. So all of the results of this week are from my strategy. That is like 80%, I'd say 70% is strategy. I feel like people want to act like you have to be an emotional Jedi to trade, and I do agree that there is so much about emotion and yourself you learn about. You learn about how you deal with emotion, you learn with how you deal with greed. Can you hold abundance, fear, stress? It's just so much stuff. What's your relationship to money? All that stuff definitely comes up. But something that I don't think gets acknowledged enough is the strategy. People want to act like you can just master yourself and then you're going to make a bunch of money. You have to definitely work on yourself, but your strategy needs to work. And your strategy needs to work for you, not against you. Some strategies you have to be perfect to make money, and we're not perfect people. So make sure your strategy is not something that's so out of reach, that's really hard to really bring into this material reality because I have a strategy. I don't have to be perfect to be profitable. I made a mistake this week. I missed a trade. There's been plenty of weeks where I made many mistakes and I still came out on with money at the end of the week. So that's just my little caveat. Just make sure your strategy is working for you, not against you. All right, well, first I'm going to go over the stats. I already told you how much I made for the week, and this is from June 21st to June 26th. I'm calling it quits for today because I don't think we're going to make any more structural moves or break any structural moves. So we're done trading for the day. My accuracy this week was 62.5%, which was really excellent for me. I aim to be above 60, and I've rarely have been for the full week. So this was a great week for my accuracy. Profit factor was 3.79. I aim to be above 3. Ideally, I could be in the fours, but I'm very happy with this. Then my average win to loss trade ratio was 2.27, which meant for every $389 I made, I lost $171. So that's a great ratio right there. So right when the market opened on Sunday, I hopped into a trade, made $339. That was it for Sunday. Monday had another win, $328. Tuesday, I had one loss and one win. It evened out to 175. Then there's a huge jump on Wednesday. On Wednesday, all of a sudden, we're talking like my wins were looking around the range of 300 because I'm looking for 30 points, one contract. Now all of a sudden we have $800, okay? And in fact, one of those trades was $954. The reason why that's so much higher than the rest for a single trade is because I sized up. I got in early, so that was a lot more. And I this was a break of consolidation trade. So that means that if you know my strategy, when there's a break of consolidation, which would be like breaking this green line. Like price comes, it makes a formation down here. We go all the way up. I'm considering all of this range a large range consolidation zone. When we break this again, I am looking not for 30 points, but I'm actually looking for 45 points. And in fact, I think I'm going to bump that up to 50. So there were three factors why this win was so much bigger than the rest, because it was a larger trade that I sized up and I got in early. So $954, was so happy about that. Then I took a small loss next. Then the only red day we had this week was Thursday. One trade, $253, no big deal. And today was the only day where I feel like I made a mistake. I missed a $600 win. What happened was I was driving, and this has happened twice since I've started live trading the strategy in this account. Two mistakes exactly like this have happened. I'm driving and my alert goes off. I pull over. I I'll just tell you what I did today. I pulled over, I got into the trade, and then I was like second guessing myself on the trade entry. And I thought, I kind of wanted to wait for the B entry, not the A entry. If you know my strategy, I have the first entry and then the second entry. I call them A entry, B entry. I wanted to wait for the B just to be sure. And the reason why, even though I take A entries, I should take the first entry. But I was kind of stressed about the fact that I was driving. There was someone behind me waiting for me to go. And I had done so well this week that I really didn't want to take a loss. And I thought to myself, I got into the trade. And then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to hop out and see. Once I get to my friend's house, I was heading there. I'll see where the market's at. And hopefully we will have stopped out of the A trade. I wouldn't have been in it. And then I would enter again for the re entry of the B. That was my plan. That's not really my strategy. If I hadn't been driving, I definitely would have just taken the A trade and I would have made $600. But instead, I got out with $43, which is fine. um, but yeah, I missed that $600 trade, and that would have been the last trade of the day and the last trade of the week as well. So that was kind of disappointing. But to be honest, it was such a good week. Anyways, I made $1,400 and could have made 2,000. It's hard with those things. You have some regrets, but because I know that my strategy works so well, I don't really feel that as a loss as much as I feel like, wow, I could have made 600 more dollars. Like this strategy rocks. So it honestly just is it's exciting data for me to know that there was even more money on the table this week. Like I didn't even max it out. So yeah, that was kind of my week in a summary. Go ahead and show you how far down I am in my account, because I let's just take the parameters off and I'll show you. Um, or how do I do that? Let's exit out these parameters. So when I first started trading, I traded a bunch of different strategies. Okay. So the strategies that I'm talking, like I started trading my new strategy here. So this is the range of my new strategy. This is how I used to trade. And I've traded for years even before I got TradeZella. So there's even more data just like this. Like I was taking like huge losses. This is a over $2,000 loss, another $2,000 loss. It's crazy. So unpredictable, unstable. And look at this. Look at how mitigated these losses are. Look at how tight these losses are. It's so impressive. And I'm trying to climb back from all of the losses I took a long time ago over the past of 3 years. And this isn't even the full number of the past 3 years, but this is probably the past year and a half, I'd have to say. So you can see stats are terrible. And this number, I'm climbing out of it. I've already made, I think, I've made over $3,000. Let's see. So like the dent used to be bigger. I think this was like minus 10 or 11,000. So I'm slowly climbing up. I started trading my strategy on the 25th. So let's do the 25th to today. Yeah, I've made $3,000, and that's just in a month and 1 week. And this is what my new strategy looks like. I'm telling you, you got to pick strategies that work for you. Those were the trades I took this week. I hope that you have a wonderful week of trading ahead of you and behind you. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.